build, the lifestyle that you would like to live. Okay. Next up, we are fortunate to live in a time of such abundance and wealth. It's pretty easy to forget how we got here, so that kind of connects to that point that 200 years ago, children would not come to school. They would go work, potentially in mines. You would do hard labor rather than the excessively hard labor of writing down notes, which some of us long for apparently, and are upset that there aren't fill-in-the-blank notes packages. Instead, you'd be working in a coal mine. Girls and boys, they didn't discriminate, right? So you'd be pushing carts of raw materials. Maybe you'd be selling things on the street, working in a factory where you might risk losing your arm rather than your pencil in a school. And that was life for everyone here 200 years ago.
Sounds pretty even.
Right? And for many, many parts of the world, that's life right now. And I'm not sure if it's possible to leapfrog and say, hey, we're going to take your country, which has no infrastructure, which maybe doesn't have a real good trust system, right, in terms of trusting in trade, trusting in institutions, having institutions like government perhaps, or healthcare or education. It's not clear to me if you can just leapfrog and go from 0 to 10, where we might be at right now, right, where we have systems in place to clear the roads, to make sure that the lights stay on, to make sure that that when you get water out of the tap, that's not yellow or brown, right? It's clean water that comes out of the faucet, right? All the time. It can be hot, it can be cold. Your Wi-Fi works. You have desks and chairs if somebody comes here to clean the building, right? It's not clear to me if you can go from 0, where you have none of that, to 10, where it's all organized and running in a very smooth manner, right? Like for all of you, you just show up and there's something for you to do, which is a transition that many students, when they leave high school, struggle with. It's like, well, I don't know what to do now, because for the last 10 years of my life, I've just been told, you show up, here's your schedule, here's your textbook, here's your notes, here's your questions. You can literally, from 6 to 18, you can just brainlessly go through life, not having to make a single personal decision about what you like, what you'd want to do, and how you'd spend your time. And we're very fortunate that we exist now. It truly is a privilege. And how do you make the most of that privilege? Right? Some people choose to do nothing, right? They'll just spend their lives playing video games, getting intoxicated, and maybe not providing anything of substance back into the world, right? And your life is your own to live, but that might not produce the best internal results, right? If you're not giving back to a community, giving back to something that's more than yourself, doing something that you think is meaningful or productive to some extent, right? There are layers upon layers of human activity which built for us the world we live in today. So I don't know how many of you are aware of your ancestors, let's say your great-grandparents and before them, but many of them lived very hard lives. Many of them struggled. Many human beings overall struggled. Many people still struggle to this day so that we can live this beautiful life that we have, which may not seem beautiful when you're sitting in social class and all you can do is put your head on your desk and barely keep your eyes open. But going back into information societies, you have access to this amazing resource, the internet. You can use that how you wish. Many of us, myself included, I'm not immune to this. We use it just for entertainment, right? To pass the time, right? But you have an amazing opportunity here that was built on the backs of many people, some by choice, some against their will. And what you do with that is entirely up to you. Okay. And lastly, wrapping up this section, so before seeking to understand, contemporary globalization, so what is happening in the world right now, and its economics. Personally, this whole section was just me adding in extra stuff. It's helpful to see where people have come from, what issues have persisted, and how societies sought to solve those issues. I know many friends, many young friends, they're very smart people, and they fall into this trap of blaming all of the world's problems on capitalism. If you ask some people in university, they'll give you the real intelligent idea that the only reason why some people have more and some people have less is because Adam Smith wrote a book 200 years ago about capitalism, and that's why we have people with less. But when you look at history, that has always existed. The only thing capitalism has done is made sure many more of us have a high quality standard of living. All of you live more comfortably than any king or queen did, 200 years ago. Right? You might not have the same royal prestige, but no king or queen 200 years ago had air conditioning. Or, well, they probably had heating of some sort in the winter, right?
That's when you just pull out the slaves and leaves.
Right, yeah, in ancient Egypt, I'm sure they had slaves literally just all day. You just stand there all day. You're just cooling down the king or queen or whatever royal wealthy person, not even royal, right? Each and every one of you can buy a little air conditioner, and when it's 35 degrees out, it can be nice and cool, right? And so it's good to know where we come from, how all of this came to be. It's a lot of information. Most of you will choose not to care about it. Some of you will choose to care about it. But it's useful. It helps us to have gratitude. What's that? Oh, it's okay, say it. Well, you just said it for them, but you didn't.
I saw the series.
What?
The series.
You were talking to your Siri, your phone.
Yeah. On my air.
What a privilege. You have a magical technological slave on your wrist. You just tell it to do things. It has no choice. Why are you all packing up?
That's witchcraft. That's witchcraft. You get executed.
So why are you all packing up? There's plenty of time. I'm not done with my idea here.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you have literal magic transporting sound into your ear from a plastic device
With no wires.
with no wires, no connection. If you went back in time right now and put that AirPod into someone's ears, they would kill you. They'd say you're a sorcerer. Say, who is this magician? Okay. What song would you make them listen to first? Okay. 200 years ago, you're standing in front of the King of England. You say, King of England, listen to this. What are you playing for him? What song are you playing for him? We'll wrap up with that. Come on, 5 seconds. Baby by Justin Bieber. Excellent. Okay. Awesome. You can wrap up your stuff now. Stay in your desks.